in this series.
Just drive all the way to the rainbow's end. Just drive, and we'll never turn our backs again. So this is how we end up. The game is set to play. Every day remains the same now. One decision we obey.
I was your friend.
I just wanna climb on top of a hill and throw it all away. Away. Take me far away before my mind spins off and now you're walking away. Just drive all the way to the rainbow's end. Just drive, and we'll never turn our backs again. Just drive.
It's like body's just passed out.
Morning. Well, you join me on another journey. This time it's a little different as there's a goal. Actually, we might call that a quest. My mate Dave, the craftsman you might have seen, well, he's always talked about going on a journey and looking for 100-year-old dilapidated barn. The reason for that is he actually wants the wood to make what he does, which is furniture and unique pieces. So, as he always talks about it, and hasn't done it for a few, 3, 4, 5 years, it's been a while. I thought, well, I've got some time, why don't we go do it now? So before I asked him, I actually contacted Royal Enfield again and went, would you have 2 bikes? And they were like, actually, there's a couple near you. So I grabbed those, then called Dave and went, Dave, you know that barn hunt you want to go on? Well, we're going. And he went, when? I said, like, now, get here. So that's what's happening in this journey. Going out, we don't have a real plan. We don't have a plan at all, really. We're going to head south through New South Wales. I'm not sure how far down we get. We might get to Victoria, maybe not, and then back up the coast. We think there might be a barn somewhere there. If we find one, great. If we don't, well, we're just going to have a great journey anyway. So right now, we're south of Grafton along a beautiful river. We left yesterday afternoon, roughly, as I told Dave to meet me at the local brewery. Dave managed to get there on time.
Well, I'm here.
So we packed his gear onto the bike and then headed south from the coastal town of Byron Bay. First we had to get through the notoriously bad local traffic, but soon we're on the freeway. When I said we didn't have a plan, I mean literally we weren't actually sure where we're going to go tonight. As it was already afternoon, I tried to think where could we get to in the next couple of hours before dark, and might be a good starting point to start looking for barns. A place that came to mind was the old Glen Innes Road. I had ridden it once before, but turned off about halfway along, so this time we could check out the rest of the track. Also, there were a lot of places you can free camp along the river. We turned off the Pacific Highway and then made our way to and then through the town of Grafton. We got to the start of the old Glen Innes Road. As we rode in, I noticed a sign which said the track was closed 50 kilometres in. but with fading light and nowhere else I could think of off the top of my head, at least it would be a good place to camp. There was going to have to be a change of plans for tomorrow. As soon as we rode in, the skies opened up and the rain came down. We made it to the Nimboida River crossing. This is where the track starts to run along the river. And somewhere along here should be good spots to camp. The rain started easing off as we made our way down to the river's edge. This river is actually the Boyd River, a tributary to the Nimboida River. We scrambled to get our tents up before dark. Dave was a little rusty, but sorted it out as the last of the light faded. I had camped along this river once before, and a lot of random cows would wander through, so I suggested to Dave to move his bike in front of the tent, just in case a cow came along and decided to walk over it. So Dave's quite excited. He has never used his jet bob before and he's literally taking the tags off right now.
Stand back. Well, just trying to work it out without looking at the rules.
You got to turn the handle.
Magic.
What'd you forget, Dave?
Nothing. Look at this.
Have a taste.
That's pretty good. It's really good.
The day started with an early morning swim in the river. We got our stuff sorted and packed our tents. Then headed off. There was quite a large bull in the middle of the track. So I let Dave go first. As we knew from the sign on the way in, the road was blocked another 10 kilometres further down the road, which meant we had to head out the way we came in. There was another reason we needed to head back out the same way. Dave had not read his fuel gauge correctly, or maybe at all. So his low fuel warning light was on as we rode in last night. Hopefully there was enough still in the tank to get us to the nearest fuel station. The road was a lot more fun in the dry. The metal cylinders in the river looked like they'd been there for quite some time. I asked Dave how many kilometres the fuel range said it had left.
6 days.
The sign said 8 kilometres to Grafton, so plenty left in the tank. We got to the fuel station and filled up. as Dave does. He was having a chat with someone, and
I just was in the service station. I was just talking to a guy about where to find a barn, and he said, and I was saying I was heading another way, and he said definitely go back down towards Coffs Harbour because there's plenty of barns to see along the way. So
that's what we'll do. There is no plan. From Dave and my experience, we believe there was more chance of finding a 100-plus-year-old barn further south, closer to Sydney, as that's where farmers first would have sold their produce, so it stands to reason that is where potentially the oldest barns would be. Some may question why Dave would be standing up on a sealed road. Normally you stand up on more technical dirt tracks as it gives you greater control, but riding for hours when you're as skinny as Dave will give you a sore butt. We passed through Coffs Harbour, then decided to take the turn off to Armidale and head out west again. Hopefully that would be the last time we see a highway for quite a while. The Hammond and Wheatley building was established in 1900, so we are definitely heading in the right direction. We rode up and over the Great Dividing Range along the Waterfall Way. The mid-north of New South Wales is stunning with its rolling hills, especially when it is this green. We pulled over as it was looking ominous ahead.
we've got a storm on our hands.
That's that thing there. Alright. Luckily, the road turned to the right and we missed the intense rain cell. We rode into the town of Armidale, which is known for its prestigious schools, which have immaculate grounds and buildings. We travelled southwest for a little bit longer, through towns like Uralla. Dave had spotted a barn-shaped building from the highway. It was brown like wood, but was actually made up of flattened 44-gallon drums that had rusty surfaces, so not quite what we were looking for. We continued into the small town of Bendemeer to see if there was anywhere to camp nearby. As we rode along the main street, we saw country folk dressed up and going out. I pulled over to do a quick search. It looked like there was a free campsite on the edge of town. We managed to find somewhere to camp, and it's free, and it's next to the rodeo grounds. Well, Dave actually says...
I call it rodeo.
So is it rodeo or rodeo? So we're going to set up tent and probably do nothing. No food.
I might have another swim.
I don't know if he could get... Oh, maybe. There's rock pools up here. He might be able to get his head wet. It's about 3 inches in front of us. That looks like a TV antenna.
Maybe we get reception.
Look at Dave's sign. Someone does see you from the air. So apparently from that, I don't know which country this is made in, 2 arms up, yes you need help, 1 arm up, 1 arm down is no, you don't need help. Don't know if that's international, maybe. The TV antenna is coming together nicely. Look at that. Impressed?
I'm very impressed.
So I'll give you a quick tour of the new tent and why I went with the same model, but the updated one. Side entry is everything. Last one had just the end entry. It was more once you put gear beside you, it just trying to spin around, it got really hard. So not hard, you long down the bike and you cramp up a bit. So this way you can just go in and out sideways, or if you need to spin around, you just open one door, put your feet out, back in. It's quite a mellow little stream we have in front of the campsite. Up the river a little, there is a lot of debris from obviously this thing floods, and it floods pretty high. Right now though, it's crystal clear and very tranquil. We dried our gear out that was wet from yesterday in the last of the sunlight.
But I've been doing it at practice days.
A young guy came past on his way to fishing the stream, and of course Dave started having a chat.
Because you pass through here, your first 3 fish have got to come to us.
Yeah, the young guy wasn't falling for that.
So that guy was actually a bull, I don't know what he said, like bull security or something. It was almost, I imagine he's the guy that does this to the bulls, like the clown, when all the other guys get knocked off. And he said, he turned 16 2 weeks ago, so he's only been doing it for 2 weeks, straight in the deep end.
They build 'em tough in the country. The light was starting to fade, but Dave thought he'd take a quick spin around town. I think it's just because he's enjoying riding the bike so much, and he can't sit still for long. Well, he made it back in the dark. Go and put the kickstand down. Dave had pulled up on the steep slope with his kickstand on the low side, so it's very hard to get off without the bike falling over.
Yeah, mate. What I've learned is how to screw it on, how to put it together, measuring. It works really fast. And reading the instructions is actually really useful. So last time I just ripped all this open and threw it in. This time I'm going to boil that, which I've just done, and put it in here. And then wait 10 to 15 minutes and see what happens. So, I'll learn that tomorrow.
Who would have thought the jet boil was hot?
So tonight we're having Thai chicken curry with wraps.
Dave's done well. It's quite tasty. We woke up and the stream had risen more than a foot overnight. Unbeknownst to us, we had actually rocked up during a rodeo. This one was a little different. So we thought we'd have a quick squiz of the high school rodeo championships in Australia that were getting ready. Neither of us even knew there was such a thing. The events were on later in the day, but the kids were out there preparing. There were events like bull riding, breakaway roping, pole bending, ribbon roping, steer riding, team roping, and tie-down roping. We had a look at the bulls and horses. If these are the bulls that 16-year-old kids are going to get on the back of, well, they're a lot gamer than me.
So do they have rodeos now? Like, is this the time they do it, or is it a winter thing?
It's pretty much all year in, all the 8 weekends a year.
Is that right?
Yeah.
They were separating the horses, ready for the events, and this horse didn't look real happy. I guess that's a good thing for a bucking horse. Grumpy, annoyed, and doesn't want to be told what to do. Dave found someone else to chat to.
Don't touch them.
Yeah. This is breakfast. Honey on a wrap. Doesn't get any better.
The events didn't start for a while, so we headed off. had heard about some dirt trails that cut through the farmlands in this area. And my guess was, if there were any old dilapidated barns, they would be on a farm, but off the beaten track. So, the more random the road or track, the better. We always try not to spook the locals. This area looked ideal for finding a barn, but even better where we were on single lane dirt roads, cutting through the hills and the bush with no idea what we might come across. A few cows decided to test Dave's bike handling skills and brakes. I came across a squashed red-bellied blacksnake. Although not the most poisonous, they can still be deadly. They play a critical role in controlling the rodent populations. They're also known to eat other venomous snakes, including the deadly brown snake. I'll tell you what, it is a lot easier going through farm gates with two people compared to by yourself. We rode across the ridgeline with stunning views to either side. We thought it was best to stop when something 100 times your size is taking up the whole road.
How good was that? I feel like going all the way back to that gate and doing that all again. Just sweeping, flying down those beautiful roads. That's the most amazing riding.
It's always great to know your mates are enjoying the ride. But the fun wasn't over. The next section got a lot more windy. The first section was fast and flowing. as we both came over the hill, we saw this structure and was like, potential. Obviously Dave's got more of an understanding what he's looking for than me, but it looked like a very old place leaning to the left. Dave's just gone in to have a look, but the only thing is it could be too early, like literally it's just trees. What do you think, Dave?
This sort of timber here, you can see like it's just straight off a tree, like they've literally hand sawn it. So the other side of that will just be hand sawn. This is the original from the outside of the tree. No idea how old, but I don't know, 100 plus. I mean, it's clearly hardwood. If it was softwood, this would have fallen apart. Oh, check out this place. This stuff here would be beautiful. Furniture coming out of that. Oh, the colour would be amazing. So you can see on the inside of the timber that we saw on the outside of the shed, this is all like hand cut. You can see all the blemishes. This is where someone's got a saw, two guys probably on one side and just cutting through it. You can see it there on all of them.
So that's our first barn find, I guess you'd call it. Well, wood find. Dave's just marking it down on the map just so he knows where it is. Might be able to call someone, property owner, and see what the go is. But we're going to keep going and just mark some to start with, and unless we find one that he's just like, bah, we'll just mark them for now.
Happy with that.
And the road?
And the road? Oh, how good is it? How good is it?
Well, Dave couldn't leave it alone. He wanted more information about the barn, so he rode to the nearest farmhouse to see if they had any information on it. I eventually followed behind, just in case he got chased off the property. He hadn't come back out, and there was no noise from a gunshot firing, so I gathered it was safe to go in. I spotted his bike, so at least I knew he was here somewhere. There were also a couple of old barns on this property too.
Oh yeah, no worries at all.
He presumes it was just Trinidad as well.
Yeah, okay. And what about these sheds out here? Are they the same kind of age?
So this is a skill set that Dave has that I do not. He can just randomly go up and talk to anybody and just walks onto the property and go, how's it going? So he's still having a chat.
This is amazing. So that lady, she's lived on the property for 40 years and she's quite elderly. She said that shed there and the one that we've just seen up the road is the oldest in the area, complete oldest in the area. She said there was another one further up, but they were overseas at the time and it fell down. She said another farmer knocked it over. But this stuff, it's the timber's all stringy bark, and she didn't have an age. So she's been here 40, she doesn't know how long it's been here, but you can see down the side here, there's saw marks. So again, like the other face of the tree, sawn it on the inside and just kept shaving. She said everything around here is stringy bark.
Helmet's up there.
Yeah, old school. Look at the old red one.
We rode out of the property, thinking this random idea of roaming the countryside looking for a 100-plus-year-old dilapidated barn to reuse and repurpose the timber might actually work. And it seems having no plan has led us to one. In the next episode, we ride down more random dirt tracks, stumble across a massive barn, which has a barn find inside. We cool off in a stream, wander down a tunnel, get hit by a lightning storm, ride over more water crossings, and have a campfire.
My love, don't worry about the cold.